there's the truth that's associated with being in possession of a set of accurate facts, but there's a more enacted truth or embodied truth, which is the consistent attempt to go beyond what you know. And so that would be the necessity of living in humility or in ignorance. And so that what you're doing when you're discussing with someone or when you're acting in the world is not so much attempting to prove that what you already know is completely right and correct, but attempting to understand very carefully where you're in error and learning everything you can to correct that. And you see, that idea is also deeply rooted in religious mythology. So, for example, the figure of Horus, who's the Egyptian eye, and who's also a falcon. Now, Horus is an eye and a falcon because falcons can see better than any other animal, including human beings, even though we can see very well. And he's an eye because the eye with the open iris signifies paying attention. And Horus, who's a messianic figure in some sense for the ancient Egyptians, had his eyes open to the corruption of the state, which was symbolized by a deity named Set, who later became Satan in the developmental pathway of this set of ideas. And Horus, who lived in truth, so to speak, was able to keep his eyes open and understand the corrupt nature of his society and his uncle. His uncle was Seth, and to put that right again. And so there's the idea that lived truth can rescue you from pathological untruth, and that might be moral or factual. If you're a scientist and operating in a truthful manner, you update archaic empirical representations. If you're a, what would you call, more culture hero type of person, then what you're doing is updating archaic and blind representations of the proper moral pathway forward, which can never be encapsulated completely in a set of rules. See, that's partly why, for example, in the line of Christian thought, Moses couldn't reach the promised land because his morality was bounded by rules. And it's not possible to reach the proper mode of being by only acting out rules, because the same rules aren't applicable in every situation. What I'm trying to do, I would say what I'm trying to do in mythological language is I'm trying to raise my father out of the belly of the beast, out of the belly of the whale in the depths of the ocean, because there's living truth in our traditions, obscured as that is by human ignorance and inability to conceive even. That doesn't mean that it can be left behind. It can't be. It has to be brought forward and updated and given new sight, which, by the way, is exactly what happens in the Egyptian stories, because Horus, the eye of attention, goes down into the underworld and rescues the god of tradition, Osiris, and gives him sight. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do. And I think I've been successful at it.